It's a very good thing. So let's just begin. So welcome everyone to today's session on UPSC Geophysics 2023. Before I begin the session, I want to introduce myself. I am RN Mehra and you are joining the session in Physics by RN. This is an institution, online institution. Okay. So I have done my masters in physics from IIT Delhi. This year I completed my master's and joined as a PhD student at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. I qualified many exams, but today we want to discuss about UPSC Geophysics exam. Why I am telling you all this? Because I have qualified prelims exam and mains exam of this UPSC Geophysics 2022, which happened this year. Interview has not been done yet. The dates have not been announced. So whenever the interview will happen, I will also share my experience for that also. So based on what my experience was and what this exam is all about, today we will see each and every aspect of this exam. So let's just begin. For a reminder, I want you to tell that please join Telegram group Physics by RN, because all of the information which I will be giving you will be through this channel only. Okay, so let's begin. So UPSC Geophysics exam is actually conducted by UPSC. UPSC conducts many exams, defense exams, scientist exams, so on. Civil services exam, which we all know, IAS, IPS, so on. One of those exams is UPSC Geophysics. So this is for the post of scientist, or as I should say, geophysicist in the Geological Survey of India. So Geological Survey of India is India's one of the oldest institution. It was developed, I think, in 1880s or something like that. So old, more than almost 150 years old this institution is, Geological Survey of India. And it is responsible for all the mineral exploration, all the element exploration, studying the physics of Earth, India's geological reserves, and so on. There are so many things which this institution does. You can be a scientist in this institution through this exam. This post is for Group A post, level 10. This is one of the most prestigious jobs which you can get in the government of India. After MSc, you cannot be appointed more than level 10. So this is the highest post which you can achieve in government of India, highest salary which you can get after your master's degree. Okay, if you do PhD, then maybe you can join as a level 11 or level 12 job, but after MSc, this is the highest level which you can achieve. So who all can give this exam? If you have masters in physics or applied physics or geophysics, applied geophysics, or any degree in geophysics or physics, you can apply for this exam. You can give this exam. You are eligible. Okay, even if you are in final year and your MSc will be completed in 2023, let's say by August and September, even then you can give this exam. There is no problem in that. Okay. So once you are selected in this post, let's say you qualify this exam, you will be working as geophysicist at any center in India. There are many centers of Geological Survey of India. At one of the centers you will be working. Most of the times you will be working in office, but many days you will also be on the field. For example, in some mine, mineral mine, or some mountains, or somewhere where interesting geological things happens. Okay. So this entire thing starts with the training. They give you the entire training. They train you in almost all the things which are required. And then they appoint you as a scientist in one of the centers. This year, there are 23 posts. So total 23 vacancies are there. 21 are in Geological Survey of India and 2 are in Water Survey of India, or I think water body, something water. So there are 21 plus 2, 23, total 23 posts are there which will be given through this exam. When I gave the exam last year, there were 51 posts. So this year there are 23 posts. 23 is still a good number because from last 3-4 years, only 7-8 posts were declared, but this year still 23 posts are there, which gives you a good chances, because the competition in this exam is not very high, very moderate kind of competition is there. As you will see, when I will tell you the cutoffs, you will see what kind of competition is there. So this exam usually has three means stages. Number one stage is prelims exam. So prelim exam, as announced by UPSC, will happen on 19th of February 2023. Prelims exam have two papers. Both the papers will happen on the same day. One will be in the morning, one will be in the afternoon. First paper will be for general aptitude. General aptitude contains all kind of things like history, polity, geography, all kind of general science, chemistry, all kind of things included are in general aptitude. Current affairs and the general basic awareness of a person is checked in this exam. So there will be 120 questions and only 100 marks. And there will be 2 hours for 120 questions. All will be MCQ. Out of these 100 marks, it is necessary that you score at least 10 marks. Otherwise, you will not be eligible further. So many of you must be thinking that you are from a science background and it is very hard for general aptitude. Honestly speaking, I never studied anything regarding the general aptitude because most of the questions are easy. It is very easy questions. You can at least do 30, 40, 50 questions very easily. How? Like they will ask who is a CEO of Tesla company. We all know it is Elon Musk. Who is a brother of Mukesh Ambani? We know Anil Ambani. Okay, so things like that, and the simple questions of science are also there. For example, who discovered nucleus? Or for example, Rutherford scattering talks about what of these things. For example, in chemistry questions, which of these is most electronegative? So out of 4 options, only chlorine is the one which can be true. So many basic science questions are also there based on those and some of the general current affairs. For example, if you are watching the TV, very basic TV, even ABP News or something like that, if you are listening what is happening currently going on, you can easily answer 30, 40 questions. Okay. And if you study little bit more, you can even score 10, 20 questions additionally. But there is no requirement for that because you see, for one question, not even 1 mark is there. So less than 1 mark is there for one question in general aptitude. So accordingly, you can plan what you want to study or not. But first paper is for general aptitude. You can easily score more than 20, 30 marks in this. Then geophysics. Geophysics paper contains 120 questions again, but this is for 300 marks. Okay, 120 questions, but 300 marks. And 2 hours for this also, and all questions are MCQ. So this is all a time problem paper because most of the questions you will be able to solve, but there is a time problem. Okay, so syllabus, what is the syllabus of the exam, we will be discussing later, but let's say, but for now there are 2 papers in prelims, general aptitude and geophysics. So total there are 400 marks for prelims paper. Honestly speaking, you don't need to do so much of the hard work. Once we will be discussing syllabus, I will tell you what things you can do to qualify prelims. So let's say there will be 160 based on the previous year analysis. 150 to 160 is a cutoff out of 400 marks. So this is, you can see, is not a very hard cutoff. You can't say this is a very tough to score 150, 160. If you study, if you want to qualify this exam, you can qualify this exam. The only thing is you need to study for it. That's it. So let's say there are 21 posts this year or 23 posts this year. So they will be qualifying like about 120 to 140 people. So only this much of the people will qualify. And don't think that this is a very small number because no more than 400,000 to 5,000 people will give this exam. Only 4 to 5,000 people give, means they fill the exam, and even less than that number comes to give the exam. So competition is very small, much smaller than IIT JAM or JEST or CSRNet. Competition is much less. But what happens is people don't go to give this exam. Even if they fill this exam, they don't go. And most of the people don't know about this exam. That is the reason the competition is less. People are giving JEST, GATE, NET, but they are not giving this exam. So that is why I am conducting this session, to increase the awareness for this exam. So now let's Let's assume you qualify the prelims exam, then you move to mains exam. Mains exam as announced by UPSC is on 24th and 25th June. So on 24th June, there will be two exams. One will be in the morning, one will be in the afternoon. And on 25th June, there will be the third exam, which is only in the morning. So there are total 3 exams. Each exam is 200 marks and each exam is for 3 hours. Okay. In each exam, there will be 4 physics subjects and 4 geophysics subjects. So total 8 subjects for each exam, total 24 subjects. It's a huge syllabus. Okay. And let's assume that, not assume, I am pretty sure that you haven't studied anything about the geophysics yet. And you have to cover at least 12 subjects. And even in physics, the syllabus is too large. 12 subjects of physics is too big syllabus. Okay. But don't worry, you don't have to study each and everything because no one can. You have to study so that you are higher than your competition. So you can beat the competition. You don't have to study because the syllabus is there. Okay. So we will discuss how much you need to study or my suggestions for that once we will be discussing the syllabus. Okay. So in each paper, 200 marks, 3 hours, 4 physics subject, 4 geophysics subject. So each paper will be divided into 2 parts, part A and part B. So let's say part A will also have 5 questions, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And part B will also have 5 questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So part A will be for geophysics and part B will be for physics. Okay. So first question of both part is compulsory. You cannot leave this first question. And this question will be for 40 marks. 40 marks plus 40 marks. Out of the remaining 4 questions in each part, you can do any 2 questions. Let's say you decide to do 2 third, or maybe second fourth, or third fifth, whatever you want. So you need to do 2 questions from here and 2 questions from here. So in total, you need to do 6 questions. 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6 questions in total out of 10. Okay. So these questions will be of 30 marks. So total makes up to 100 marks. 40 plus 40, 80, and 4 questions of 30 marks is 120. So 200 marks. Okay. So there is pretty good options there. Even if you leave some subject, there are pretty good options in the paper that you can leave those questions which are asked from those portions which you haven't studied. Okay. So there UPSC gives you options. Okay. So this is all about mains. If we move forward, cutoff thing, that is more important. So there are 600 marks of mains and 400 marks for prelims. Total 1000 marks has been done so far. And the cutoff is only 400, approximately 400. Okay. So let's say you scored 160 to 200 marks in prelims. Prelims is pretty easy. Prelims is MCQ, so you can score even 200 marks. There is not a big problem in that. Okay. So if you score, let's say 160 to 200 marks in prelims, out of 600 marks in mains, you only need 200 marks. 200 to 250 marks. That's it. So not a very huge issue. Only 1/3% of the marks you need. 33% of the marks to qualify the cutoff by good enough numbers. Okay. So then if you qualify mains also, the mains result came this year, I think on last month, on 25th, 26th, I think, yeah, 25th, 26th August, the result came. And then there will be an interview. Interview probably happens in October, November. This year dates has not been announced yet, but usually it happens in November. The interview fee is for 200 marks. So total is 1200 marks. And if you score 500 or 550 in between this range, you qualify this exam. And these cutoffs are based on those numbers when there were only 8 vacancies. Only 8 vacancies. Then it is for general cutoff. But this year there are 23 vacancies. So cutoff can also be less. So even maybe it is also possible that maybe at 480 marks you get this post. Okay, so this was all about the pattern of the exams: prelims, mains, and interview. Total 1200 marks. All of the marks counts, and final cutoff is based on the total marks scored out of these 1200 marks. Okay, so before I go into discussing the syllabus, any questions so far? Any kind of question? Yeah, if you want to ask.
इसमें prelims qualifying नहीं होता?
No, it is not like UPSC civils. In this, prelims also count.
Okay.
Any other question? So should we move forward? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. So let's discuss the syllabus. So exam is on February. You probably have 4 to 5 months. So let's see what is the syllabus. So syllabus has 6 subjects. In total, there are 6 subjects. Few subjects are from geophysics and some of them are directly from the physics. So number 1 subject is solid earth geophysics. You can see there are many kind of things like introduction to geophysics, solar system, earth shape and rotation, gravity and magnetic field of earth, geomagnetism, earthquakes, etc., etc. I would suggest that if you are really looking forward to qualify this exam, this first subject is very important. And you can cover this subject from the book called William Lowry. I will also try to give some of my notes. I have some of the notes for this subject. I can also share that notes in the group, okay, in Telegram group. This subject is pretty, not very hard, but pretty easy. You can do this. What is earthquakes? What are elastic waves? You can study these kind of things. There is not a very big problem. You can cover this entire subject in 15 to 20 days. Not a very big issue if you want to. William Lowry contains almost all the information which is required for this subject. But the only thing is William Lowry also contains a lot of other information which is not required. So what I can do is in few days, I will mark the topics of William Lowry which you can study for the exam. Okay, but the questions, trust me, are going to be easy. If you have studied the book, it is fact-based question. It is not just you studied, but also you need to remember the facts. Because in geophysics, there is a lot of memorization involved. Okay, so that you need to do. It is geophysics is little bit boring. It's not as interesting as physics. So that is a little bit a problem, but let's move on. Second subject is mathematical physics. Oh, sorry, mathematical methods. So the entire syllabus is of mathematical methods of physics. There is nothing new. You can see vector analysis is there, Stokes theorem, matrices, electromagnetic and strong forces, entire physics, very simple physics syllabus. If you are studying for GATE, NET, JEST, the same syllabus is here. And also it will be an MCQ, easy MCQ, much easier than GATE and NET. So focus on this subject very well. Try to solve all the questions which are coming from this portion. Third subject, electromagnetism, entire physics syllabus. If you are preparing for exams like GATE NET, same syllabus is there. So easy questions are also there. So focus on these two subjects. Then comes geophysical prospecting. Now this contains two parts. Number one part is elements of geology, physical principle, all the kind of these things till this Fourier series part, or you can say signals and systems part. Here, there are two things in it. Number one is all the measurement techniques. It actually tells you about measurement techniques, how application of gravity. If you are measuring gravity, what is an application of that? Okay. Then electromagnetic surveys. When you become a geophysicist, you go to field, you do a lot of surveys like gravity survey, electromagnetic survey, well logging. All those kind of surveys are mentioned here. If you are interested, you can study this syllabus. But I would suggest you, if you are from physics background, study this syllabus in the end. Okay, in the end, if you are, because right now you also have a pressure for NET and GATE and so on. So you study this in the end. But the second part, which is signal and systems, sampling theorem, Aliasing effect, Fourier series, Fourier transform and its application, Laplace transform, these kind of things you can easily understand. You only need any basic engineering book or signal and system book. You can search signals and systems book, any book which is by an Indian author. You can take that book up and study this syllabus. This syllabus is pretty, if you try to do it, you can easily do it because it is more like mathematical. You need formulas, you need basic concepts of mathematics, and that's it. So this can also be done. Then comes remote sensing and thermodynamics. This is, I would say, is a geophysics subject, but more related to physics. Fundamentals of remote sensing. What is remote sensing? Remote sensing is something you try to study the earth from the satellites. Okay, so all that, there is a course on remote sensing by the on NPTEL by the professors of IIT Roorkee. IIT Roorkee. Okay, you can see that course. Also, laws of thermodynamics and thermodynamic potentials, Planck radiation law, Wien's law, all Stephen Boltzmann law, you all have studied these kind of things. It's not a very big deal to study remote sensing and thermodynamics. So you see, if we compare physics and geophysics, the exam actually benefits physics students more. If we talk about prelims stage, in main stage it benefits more geophysics people, but in prelims exam it benefits more to physics students. And what happen is, not many geophysicists are able to qualify this prelim stage. So in mains, most of the students are from physics background. So if you don't know geophysics, they also don't know geophysics. So that is why it becomes easier to qualify mains also. Okay. So, but I would suggest you should focus more and more and more on prelim stage. If you score more marks at prelim stage, your chances to qualify these exams become very high, because prelims is the easiest stage of this exam and it is for 400 marks. Okay. So out of 300 marks of geophysics, you can easily score 200 to 20 marks if you study. Okay, if you study. And if you have 220 marks in geophysics and 20-30 marks in general aptitude, you are much away higher than any other person who is giving this exam. Okay. So then last is nuclear physics and radiometry. Again, very simple, entire physics syllabus, basic nuclear properties, radioactivity, GM counter, scintillation counter. You all know. The entire book list I will share, that what for what subject you can study which book, that I will discuss later, or I can share that PDF. But you can see out of 6 syllabus, 6 topics, directly 3 to 3.5 is from physics portion. Almost 4 subjects are from physics and 2 subjects are from geophysics. That you can also study because it is a fun subject, earthquake and etc. that you can study, not a very big problem. So any questions in prelims? Prelim syllabus, any questions? Okay, so should we move ahead? Everyone clear till here?
सर प्रीलिम्स में बस 6 सब्जेक्ट्स ही हैं.
Yes, only 6 subjects.
Okay.
Yeah. So should we move forward, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, great. So let's begin. Now, main syllabus is something like I would say UPSC has put everything which is possible on earth. Okay. Every single topic which is in there in physics, it is in this syllabus. So very huge syllabus. So let's see. I won't go in detail, very great detail, because first step is prelims. So number one thing is, should we study mains before prelims? No. First focus on prelims, qualify the prelims, and then start preparing for mains. That is a step. Okay. Because mains is something a very different game, because currently you are also busy in GATE, NET and other exams. So first focus on prelims. If you qualify prelims with good marks, your 50% work is done. Okay, assume it your 50% work is done. Then you can do mains with a very light mindset, which is very much required. Okay, so let's say number one paper, geophysics paper 1. This paper I would say is the easiest paper. Why? Because again, in geophysics also most of things are from physics. Okay, so let's again come back. So solid earth geophysics again came. So this is same as prelim syllabus, almost same. There are only few additional topics which you can easily cover. So this subject everyone should cover very well if you qualify prelims and going for mains. And most of it you must have already covered in the prelims. Okay. So and then comes earthquake seismology. This is little bit tougher subject, but again, very few topics of this syllabus comes, and the same question keep coming, keep coming. If you analyze the previous year questions, I will give an analysis and I will give you the important topics after the prelims. But you can say not many topics are covered from this. Only few topics comes every year. Okay, out of this huge syllabus of earthquake seismology. Then comes mathematical method in geophysics. You can see this is an entire physics part. In geophysics also it is physics part. You can see Ampere's law, Biot-Savart's law, all the physics syllabus is there. So all the physics book will be used for this syllabus. And then in geophysical inversion. This I would say I have never studied this subject personally. You can leave this subject. This is a useless subject. You won't be able to read this syllabus entirely. So fourth will you can say you can leave, because I am assuming that you can't cover this entirely, because it's a tough. As a physics student, you can't study geophysical inversion very quickly. But there are few topics, 3 or 4 topics in this topic, which I can mark you after the prelims, which you can read. It is one day job to read those 3-4 topics only. Okay. So out of the geophysics syllabus of part 1, you can see subject number 1 is important, which everyone should cover. Number 2, only few topics are there if you analyze a previous year question. Third is entire physics syllabus, and fourth you should entirely leave it. Okay, because there are options in the exam, so you can leave this portion very easily. Okay, you will only lose 10 marks if you don't study any subject. Okay, so yeah, moving forward, then part B is from physics. It contains mathematical methods of physics. Is my screen frozen or something? Can you see part B?
No, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Jan, can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So very easy. Again, mathematical methods of physics. So you now understand how important mathematical method of physics is. It is also in geophysics. It is also in physics. Very important. So focus much more on this. Electrodynamics, electromagnetic theory. These 3 subjects are directly from physics. But see the syllabus. It contains everything. Plasma physics, plasma waves are there, electromagnetic field tensor, all the things which are not even in net syllabus, it has been asked in this. And honestly speaking, physics paper was not very easy this year. Okay, they were asking the tougher part. The syllabus which we usually don't study for gate and net, they were asking questions from that also. So after prelims, if you get free from gate and just exam, I would honestly speaking recommend you to focus more on some of the basic subjects of physics, so that you can do pretty well in these kind of exams. But that is again after prelims, we can discuss that more. But the syllabus is large. You have to keep in mind, if you qualify pre, the syllabus is large. But it is large for everyone. Okay, then coming to fourth part, it is introductory atmospheric and space physics. It is something which you haven't studied in physics. But there is again one course from IIT Roorkee teacher. If you see that course, he has covered this entire syllabus very nicely. And you can make notes. Most of the question from this comes from GPS error, multipath effect, GPS performance, and then atmosphere. I have made some good notes for this subject. I can share those notes. But make sure that you do geophysics paper 1 very nicely, because it is very important subject. It is easy to cover, because as I go forward in geophysics 2, it is very hard. Let's see how. Geophysics 2 is actually very hard, because for this you need the methods of geophysics, like potential, gravity and magnetic methods, electrical and electromagnetic methods, seismic prospecting, borehole geophysics, and it is very hard to cover these subjects. So also On the first day, you will be giving an exam, geophysics exam in the morning, and then this second exam will happen in the afternoon. By the afternoon, your energy will be depleted. You will be very much tired. And it is very hard to score very good marks in geophysics too. So I would say study for geophysics 1 very well, study for geophysics 3 very well, and for geophysics 2, you study it in the end. Because if you study it in the end, there is no loss. Because even if you study in the beginning, you will not be able to cover so much of its syllabus. I am very, very sure, because it's a very extensive syllabus. But in geophysics 2, you can focus more on the physics part, which is actually easy. Classical mechanics you have studied, thermodynamics and statistical mechanics you will study anyway for gate and net. And the syllabus is also not very large. It is similar to gate or net syllabus, not a very too much of it is added. Atomic molecular physics, again you will study it for net syllabus or just, oh sorry, for gate. Okay, so all the similar topics are there, and nuclear and particle physics. So you can focus more on geophysics 2, physics part of geophysics paper 2 rather than geophysics part. Even if you leave the entire portion of geophysics 2, it is good, fine, doesn't matter much. Okay, study geophysics 2 in the end and focus more on physics part. Geophysics 3, this paper I would suggest is something which will be a game decider. Why? Because this is a subject which you can actually study, but most of the students get stuck at geophysics through 2, and they never able to come to geophysics 3. So in this first subject is radiometric and airborne geophysics. Even if you are not able to do airborne geophysics, radiometry you can do. Principles of radioactivity decay process, units, GM counter. It is a physics part. You can study this very easily. Then marine geophysics. This you can leave. There is no need. If you can't study this, you can leave this. I'm only talking about physics students. If you are a geophysics student, for you strategy is completely different. I would suggest you to discuss this with your senior. Okay. But yeah, third subject is geophysical signal processing. This is a subject which I think you should spend some time, because it involves mathematical inverse jet transform, poles and zeros, principles of digital filters. This is something like engineering subject, and a physics student can easily understand this subject. If you study this subject, you will be able to score 20-30 additional marks, which is very important. And then again in the end, remote sensing and geohydrology. In remote sensing and geohydrology, you can easily do remote sensing. Geohydrology is a little bit difficult. Remote sensing you will also be doing in the prelim stage. So remote sensing you can easily do. Geohydrology, if you can't study, you can leave it. Okay, so that is what I'm saying. But the problem here is the physics portion of geophysics 3 is very hard, and you need to give it a good enough time. Why? Because these are the subjects which you haven't studied a lot. For example, solid state physics and basic electronics. You see, it is entirely everything which you can study. Like for example, FET, JFET, MOSFET, and it is not just there. They have written it. They also ask the question from FET, JFET, and questions are also difficult. Okay. Then lasers. In lasers, they have made entire subject for lasers, and they have put almost everything which is in lasers. Then digital electronics, radar systems, and satellite communication. This is also which you haven't studied in your physics, but you can study this because it's not a very geophysics portion, but a physics thing, but you can study it, but you have to give it a time. And then quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is also tough. The questions they ask is little bit easier. They don't ask much from advanced quantum mechanics, but still, if you haven't a good, if you don't have a good command on quantum mechanics, it could be difficult for you. So let's summarize this. Geophysics 1 is the easiest paper. And you can easily do geophysics and physics of this easily if you want to. So it should be our first priority. Okay, Geo 2 is toughest. Okay, so it's geophysics you should do in the end. in the end. But physics you should do very well. Okay, then Geo 3, moderate. Why moderate? Geophysics is okay, but physics is difficult. So you should focus more on this. And geophysics, some parts you should do very good, some parts, as I discussed. So if you go in this sequence, you can score good marks. And honestly speaking, this is not something which I have learned from by looking at the syllabus. This is what I have learned by giving the exam. When I studied and when I gave the exam, I realized that what is actually in this exam. And honestly speaking, if you go to YouTube, there is nothing is available regarding this exam. Nothing, zero information is there. Very few channels, 1 or 2 channels are there. They also talk more about geology, because geology students also give this exam. Their exams are different. No one talks about geophysics. So it is something which you have to look up for. So if you want to qualify this exam, start with prelims today. Start with prelims. The first step I would say is download the previous year questions for last 5, 6, 7, whatever years are available. Make one folder on your laptop or mobile phone. Save those papers there. Read those papers very well. Okay. Spend 2, 3 days. Read the syllabus entirely. And then whatever you think you can qualify, oh sorry, you can study very well, which are from the part of physics, start making notes. This exam can only be qualified if you have good notes of your own. You can study from others' notes also, but then after that you need to make your own notes, because in the end it matters is how much you remember. You need to revise it very well. Okay. And if you're really serious about this exam, then I would suggest you, along with physics, whatever is in geophysics prelims, start studying it. You can cover those in next 1 month. And then first, if you qualify prelims, then you can focus on mains. So this is all I want to tell about this exam. All the tips, syllabus division and the important books for that, I will make a PDF soon, and then I will share that PDF with you. Okay. So any questions if you want to ask, you can ask me.
सर जो मेंस है इसका ये तो